I'm declaring a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill, because what's about to erupt in the South China Sea could drag the world into chaos. Oil, gas, and the US dollar aren't just in play, they're the match, the fuse, and the bomb. Subscribe now before this story explodes and you're left in the dark. Let me ask you something. When the hell did it become okay for China to treat the West Philippine Sea like their own private swimming pool? Like they can just roll in, build fake-ass islands, bully Filipino fishermen, and wave their made-up 9-dash line around like it's gospel. You know what that is? That's not power. That's a damn bluff. And for years, the world just sat there, watching while people like Mang Rodell, who just wants to feed his damn family, get chased off waters his grandpa fished in before he was even born. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. America just showed up. And they didn't bring words, they brought war chests. Chevron, ExxonMobil, billions in investments, drilling rigs, and most importantly, a middle finger to China's fantasy map. This ain't just some business deal, this is a warning shot, a line in the sand. You think you're gonna harass Filipino fishermen now? Guess what? You're messing with US assets now. You think you can shadow every supply boat with a Coast Guard ship? Fine, but threaten a US-backed oil rig? Boom, now you've got warships watching. And don't give me that, oh, it'll escalate tensions crap. It's already tense. It's already a damn standoff. The only difference now, the Philippines finally has backup with teeth, and about time too. Let me break it down real slow. 90% of the Philippines' oil is imported. That's not just dumb, it's dangerous. One global price spike and everything crumbles. Transport, electricity, food, your fucking daily life. This US investment, it's not just a deal, it's a declaration that the Philippines isn't China's punching bag. That energy equals power equals sovereignty. And if China's pissed, good. Let them sweat, let them scramble, because this ain't about playing nice anymore, it's about fighting for what's yours. Now smash that damn like button if you've ever felt like the small guy getting pushed around. And don't you dare leave, because next we're exposing how China's been playing the long con and how this one move might just ruin their whole damn strategy. You want the truth? You just got it. Now sit back, we're just getting started. Maria wasn't a soldier, she was a marine biologist, Palawan born. Every morning, she boarded her little boat, sailed into the West Philippine Sea, and dove into the reefs she's studied since college, documenting life below, protecting it, preserving it. But one day, a Chinese Coast Guard ship blocked her path. Armed, loud, aggressive, she wasn't in Chinese waters. But they didn't care. That's the world we live in now. In 2016, the International Tribunal at The Hague said it loud and clear. China's 9-dash line has no legal basis, none. They said the Philippines has every right to fish, drill, and explore in its exclusive economic zone. That ruling, it was a win not just for Manila, but for truth, for law, for every small country that refuses to be steamrolled by a bully. So what did China do? They laughed. Then they built more islands, dumped more sand, and planted more military bases. Like they were thumbing their nose at the entire damn world. They turned coral reefs into runways, marine sanctuaries into missile zones. China's message was crystal clear. We don't give a damn what the world says. This is ours. And that's the part that should piss every Filipino off, because this isn't just a legal dispute. It's a declaration of disrespect for international law, for sovereignty, for us. Let's be real, over $5 trillion, 0 cents in global trade passes through those waters. Fish stocks are drying up, reefs are dying, and Filipino livelihoods are vanishing. This isn't policy, it's personal. But here's the twist they didn't see coming. The Philippines isn't just taking it anymore. Under Marcos Jr., we're reviving stalled oil projects, rallying support from global allies, and launching joint military drills, like the 2025 Balikatan exercises, where 14,000 US and Filipino troops practiced side by side. That's not just a drill, that's a warning. To anyone thinking the Philippines is still alone out here, we're not. This isn't about picking a fight, it's about standing our damn ground. And if China keeps pretending they're above the law, then it's time the world reminds them nobody is. And next, we're diving straight into the front line where it hits hardest, not in courtrooms or political speeches, but out at sea, where Filipino fishermen are being chased, harassed, and blocked from the very waters they've relied on for generations. This is the real cost of China's defiance, and it's time everyone saw it. They started puncturing our boats, Imagine this. You're a Filipino fisherman waking up before dawn to catch fish for your family. It's a long, exhausting day. But it's not the waves that threaten your livelihood, it's the sound of something far worse. A sharp pop, the unmistakable sound of a hole being punctured into your boat. Yeah, you heard that right. These fishermen who spend their lives battling the ocean's tides have to battle another threat. Other people doing everything they can to sink their livelihoods. These aren't just some isolated incidents either. This happens regularly in waters off the Philippines. And let's be real for a second, when your boat's punctured, you're not just losing a day's work, you're losing everything. Imagine getting your most valuable tool destroyed in front of you and not knowing where your next meal is coming from. Take Rafael, a local fisherman from Palawan. This guy has been fishing for his family for 20 years, but last year, as he was unloading his catch, he heard that dreaded noise. He turned to see a massive hole gaping from the side of his boat. The crew of a neighboring boat grinned at him, having no fear of any repercussions. He'd worked his whole life to keep his boat afloat, and in seconds, it was rendered useless. The pain of seeing years of hard work go to waste hit him like a ton of bricks. But this isn't just a personal tragedy, it's part of a much larger conflict. The Philippines has been struggling with territorial disputes in the South China Sea, and Filipino fishermen are on the front lines, often finding their boats sabotaged, threatened, or worse. And why is this happening? Because international waters are now playgrounds for tensions. Everybody wants a piece of the ocean's riches, and poor fishermen are caught in the middle of it. Now let's talk facts. According to the Philippine Coast Guard, around 70% of the country's fishermen face some form of intimidation or violence while fishing. That's nearly 1 out of every 2 people on the water. How's that for a wake-up call? Here's where you come in, because I know you're probably sitting there asking yourself, why isn't more being done about this? Well, you're not alone in thinking that, but the truth is, while international politics play their part, we have the power to make noise. Talk about it, share this video, smash that like button. Seriously, help us get the word out. These are real stories of real people who need to be heard. And guess what? We're not done here. There's more to this story. What happens next will shock you, and it might even change the way you see international waters and the people who live their lives on them. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss what happens next. What are your thoughts? Comment below, share your opinion. I want to know, has this ever happened in your town? Let's get the conversation going. All right, let's get this straight. This is absolute bullshit. How the hell are Filipino fishermen who've spent their entire lives battling the ocean's tides supposed to survive when there are people out there literally puncturing their boats? And here's the kicker. Why is it still happening? We're talking about men and women who put in the grueling work day after day only to have their livelihoods destroyed by greedy assholes. So tell me, what's more messed up? The fact that these fishermen have to fight off a goddamn punch to the gut from their own neighbors? Or the fact that this goes on every single day with no one giving a damn? But that's just the surface. I know what you're thinking right now. Why the hell is nobody doing anything about this? Well, let me tell you. The Philippines is fighting a battle no one wants to talk about. The country's energy, its resources are up for grabs, and you know who's coming in to take advantage of it? The big shots. Chevron and ExxonMobil acting like they're doing the country a favor by swooping in with their billion-dollar investments. Yeah, that's right. They're coming in, making massive moves in Malampaya and locking in on new blocks. Do they care about the fishermen? No. Do they care about the Filipinos who depend on those resources? Hell no. They're in it for the money. But guess what? Their investment is going to bring cleaner energy and a better economy. So maybe, just maybe, it's the only good thing they've done in years. And here's the reality check you've been waiting for. The Philippines is looking at a 25% increase in energy production by 2027. That's more jobs, more power, and more economic stability. So while you've got those damn companies making moves and stepping on local industries, they're at least putting some effort into fixing the damn mess. So here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. The Philippines isn't getting the respect it deserves. It's high time we stop being the punching bag for everyone else's greed. These fishermen aren't just victims, they're survivors. But the way things are going, it's gonna take a hell of a lot more than just big oil to fix this. I'm done being polite about this. This is our future, and if we don't speak up now, it'll be gone. Let's stop pretending this isn't happening and start looking at the real problem here. We've got to put our foot down. Yeah, so let's take a second to connect the dots here. We've already talked about how big energy players like Chevron and ExxonMobil are making a power move in the Philippines, stepping into the Malampaya field and locking in new blocks. But guess what? That's just one part of the bigger game. While these companies are securing resources, there's an even deeper, more strategic layer to all of this, one that's gonna make you see this whole situation in a completely new light. Picture this, you're at a beach party, the waves are crashing, the sun's setting, and everyone's having a great time. Then, out of nowhere, a dude comes in, takes a huge chunk of sand, and plants a flag right in the middle of it, claiming it as his. Yeah, kind of a dick move, right? But here's the thing, sometimes that flag is more than just a statement, it's a power move. And that, my friends, is exactly what's going down in the South China Sea. The US isn't just drilling for energy here, they're planting a flag, quietly but strategically. This isn't just about oil or gas, it's about territory. It's a response to China's constant aggression and territorial grabs. And while everyone's focused on the drilling, the real message is that the US and its allies are staking a claim in this region. They're making sure China knows they're not the only ones who get to dictate the rules here. Here's where this gets personal. Anna, a fisherman's daughter from Manila, has been watching China's expanding reach over the South China Sea, and it's been scary. Her family's livelihood has been threatened as China moves in on Filipino waters. But now, with these strategic energy investments and the subtle yet powerful assertion of US presence, Anna feels a sense of hope. This isn't just about big companies raking in profits, it's about geopolitical power and the Philippines fighting back. This is a new kind of soft power that's not just about making noise, it's about planting a flag and saying, we're not backing down. And while this isn't going to make headlines with flashing lights and sirens, trust me, this move is just the beginning. Hold tight because we're about to dive into how these shifts will affect you, the economy, and the future of the Philippines in the next global game. You don't want to miss this. Let's start with energy security. The Philippines is in a terrible position. Right now, the country imports over 90% of its oil. Yeah, you heard that right, 90%. And what does that mean? It means the Philippines is vulnerable, dependent on other countries, and at the mercy of global oil markets. Every time oil prices rise, guess what happens? Gas prices go through the roof, your power bills go up, and you're stuck with no real choice. That's a real problem. So when the US steps in, they're not just drilling for the sake of it, they're setting up a future where the Philippines isn't choking on foreign oil. Now, let's talk strategic resistance. This is where it gets juicy. You see, the American presence in the region isn't just about energy. It's a bold move against China. China's been flexing its muscles for years, making claims over waters that belong to the Philippines. The US planting their flag is the ultimate deterrence. A statement to China, back off, we're not letting you push us around. It's like standing up to a bully on the playground, and trust me, when the US backs you up, that bully thinks twice. And here's the clincher, regional signaling. This is where the US isn't just sending a message to China, they're encouraging other nations like Vietnam and Malaysia to step up too. Think about it. For years, these countries have watched China overstep, but with the US taking a stand, it's like flipping a switch. Other nations are looking at this and they're starting to think, wait, we don't have to take this anymore. That's the power of collective strength. Look, these aren't just isolated events. This isn't just some random political play. What the US is doing here is setting the tone for the entire region. This impacts you, whether you're in the Philippines, Vietnam, or Malaysia. The balance of power is shifting, and you need to be paying attention. So here's the question for you. What do you think about all this? Are we really better off with the US stepping in, or should the Philippines be handling this on its own? What's China's next move in all of this? And do you believe the US is really playing the long game here, or is this just another power grab? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get a discussion going. What's your take on the shifting balance of power in the region? Does this move signal hope for a stronger Philippines, or are we just seeing more political games being played? I want to hear from you. This conversation is just getting started. Stick around because we're about to dive into how this all affects you directly. You won't want to miss the real world consequences of these moves. Get ready. What if we're all just sitting here letting China win without even realizing it? Yeah, I said it. And I know, you're probably sitting there like, oh, here we go, more political nonsense. But hear me out. What if China has been playing us for fools this whole time and we've just been letting it happen? Here's the truth. You know that whole meddling thing China's crying about with the US? Yeah, it's rich, isn't it? They've been bullying every country they can get their hands on, taking whatever they want in the South China Sea, all while pointing fingers at everyone else. But now, when someone finally calls them out, suddenly they're the victim? What the hell? When did we all decide to be so weak that we can't call out the biggest bully on the block? Look, I'm done with the sugarcoating. China has been stealing and lying for years, and now they're acting like they're the ones being attacked? Come on, this isn't about energy, this is about domination. They don't just want oil, they want power. And the US stepping in, yeah, it's a move of strength, not just for energy, it's a statement. But that's exactly what's making China lose their shit Now, I'm not saying the US is perfect, hell no, they've got their own skeletons. But here's the bottom line, we have to choose a side. The longer we sit here pretending we're not in the middle of this game, the worse it's gonna get for all of us. So what do you think? Are we actually going to let China do whatever they want? Or is it time we stand up and say enough is enough? Drop your thoughts. Because this conversation, it's far from over, and trust me, you're going to want to stick around for what's coming next. A small country, once overlooked, is no longer playing by the old rules. The Philippines, under President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., has made it crystal clear they're not backing down anymore. For years, the South China Sea was treated like China's private playground, but the Philippines, they've had enough of sitting on the sidelines. Under Marcos, the country has found its voice, standing tall and demanding respect for its sovereignty. It wasn't always like this. Not too long ago, nations bent over backward to avoid confrontation, even if it meant letting others take what was rightfully theirs. But that era of fear and silence is officially over. Marcos Jr. has set the tone for a new chapter, one where the Philippines doesn't just participate, it leads. This shift isn't just about territorial disputes or resource access, it's about something much bigger, national pride. The Philippines is no longer willing to let anyone walk all over them. They're staking their claim loudly and proudly. It's a clear message to the world, we're here and we're standing strong. The Philippines' new approach isn't just a flex, it's a battle cry. With Marcos at the helm, the country is signaling to its people, to China, and to the world, we will not be bullied. And now, as the stakes continue to rise, one question remains. Will the Philippines hold its ground, or will this new era of defiance crumble under pressure? Stay tuned, because what happens next is going to reshape the entire narrative. We're in a new era. Let me break this down for you. The Philippines, that beautiful island nation, is standing up like never before. No longer backing down, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has made it crystal clear the Philippines isn't afraid to defend what's theirs. And while the US has been stepping up, we're seeing more than just economic deals. There's a whole new military strategy unfolding. Here's where it gets interesting. We've talked about the energy deals, the massive investments from US giants like Chevron and ExxonMobil. That's big. But now the military side is getting serious. Under the EDCA agreement, the US is setting up new military bases across the Philippines. And it doesn't stop there. Joint naval patrols are happening right now in the South China Sea. But why does this matter? Energy and military strategies are no longer separate. The US military presence isn't just about deterrence, it's about control, about keeping China at bay and ensuring the Philippines isn't standing alone in this fight for sovereignty. This is about global influence, it's economic, it's military, and it's all wrapped into one. From our stats, we've got more viewers, outpacing subscribers. Kindly join our community. Thank you. All right, back to it. Let me hit you with a quick story. Carlos from Cebu. He's a small business owner who thought he had nothing to worry about, but when the tensions in the South China Sea escalated, Carlos's entire supply chain took a hit. Goods stopped coming in, prices skyrocketed. That's when it clicked. This wasn't just about energy or resources, this was about his livelihood. And guess what? Carlos isn't alone. Millions of Filipinos are feeling the pressure of this brewing storm. The US presence now isn't just economic, it's military muscle too. This shift, it's raising the stakes from simple energy investments to a full-blown military strategy. We're not just talking about oil, this is about regional power. With the US stepping up, China's accusations of meddling are only growing louder. And as the tension mounts, this military presence serves as a huge deterrent against Chinese aggression. Now let's talk consequences. China's reaction isn't going to be pretty. Accusing the US of meddling and militarizing the sea, they're showing how seriously they view the new military positioning. The message here? Washington isn't just in this for energy. They've got a bigger plan, one that is strategically positioning the Philippines as a frontrunner in this geopolitical game. And China? They know it. With the stakes this high, we have to ask, is the US military presence a strong enough deterrent to China, or is it pushing them even closer to conflict? These moves could change everything, and we're right in the middle of it all. Don't go anywhere, because the drama is just beginning and you don't want to miss what's coming next. What do you think about the US military presence in the Philippines? Drop your thoughts below and let's stir up the conversation. The world is watching. You ever met Man Janesto, a 68-year-old retired mechanic from Cagayan de Oro? Quiet guy, spent his whole life fixing tricycles, raising 3 kids, and hustling just enough to keep the lights on. But now, even in retirement, he's haunted by a simple question: why the hell is my electric bill higher than my pension? He only uses a rusty fan and an old radio, yet his bills keep climbing. The real villain? Our overdependence on fossil fuels, specifically coal. Over 61% of our electricity still comes from it as of 2023. That's more than China. Let that sink in. But here's the twist. The tide is finally turning. Under President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., the Philippines is throwing the kitchen sink at an energy revolution. The mission? 35% renewable energy by 2030 and 50% by 2040, not just to cut costs, but to break free from the foreign grip that's held our energy sector hostage. And we're not talking peanuts. The total bill to make this happen? $337 billion, 0 cents. That's the price tag for true energy independence. But we're not just talking solar panels and wind turbines, we're talking full-scale national transformation. Already, we've inked a $15 billion 0 cents deal with the UAE's Masdar, launching massive wind, solar, and battery projects to power millions of Filipino homes by 2030. There's more. The government's green energy auction program is drawing global investors faster than you can say brownout. For folks like Mang Ernesto, this is more than policy, it's hope. It's the promise of cheaper bills, cleaner air, and a shot at dignity in the twilight years. Now I gotta ask you, do you think we're finally on the right track, or are we chasing midnights? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and hey, if this hits home, smash that like button so more people hear what the mainstream media is too quiet to say. This isn't just the future, this is our fight, and we're not backing down.